Welcome GRD 132 Typography 1 and also possibly GRD 130 History of Graphic Design. I may use this video for both courses, but this is a practice exercise. That's all it's for, and it's mainly for people who haven't used Figma before, although anybody can do the exercise just to review it. So if you haven't used Figma before, hopefully this will help you learn how to click on a shared link, open the shared link, save it to your drafts, and then share it when you're done doing some work, and then a couple little operations with text in Figma. So this is what you're going to do. You're going to come to coursework. Now this is for GRD 132. You may be doing a similar thing for GRD 130. You're going to come to Figma Practice, Quick Brown Fox, and I'll explain that in a second. Now you can click on the link here, or you can also go in here where there's some instructions here. So I'll click on the link here. Now I already have my Figma account open. So I'm assuming you went through the Create Replit account, you created a Replit account. I'm logged in right now. And then I'm going to click on this link. Now this is a shared link that I'm sharing to you that you're going to save to your account. You're going to click on this link and it'll open up in a new tab. Even though you have Figma open, as long as you have your account opened, it's going to open up in your account. And then this one that you had open, you could even close it. But if you need to, you may have to log in. You may have a message here that says log in, but I'm going to assume you're logged in. So I'm logged in right now and it says view only. That means you can only view it. You can't do anything because I'm sharing it with you. Now I'm sharing it so that you can save it to your account. So what you need to do is go to this little arrow here, the drop down, and choose duplicate to your drafts. And then down here, go down here and click on open. And it's going to open the file. It's still going to be called Figma Practice Last F. And what you're going to do is go to this arrow again and rename it. And put your last name first initial. So I'm going to put Homa R. That's me. I'm going to put it here and then also copy over where it said copy. And then just hit enter. And there it is. Now it's saved to your drafts. Now, if for whatever reason you had to leave and go away or do something and get away from this file, if you go back, like how do you close this? If you go back here to this drop down, now everything's in this drop down. A lot of stuff is here. I know some applications have a lot of options and menus across the top. They don't. They have a lot of stuff here under this Figma icon. And if you go back to files, that takes you to like this home area. And then if you just go to recents, you should see the one that was just created if you ever can't find it. Or go to all files. Sometimes you have to almost refresh it a little bit and just go to recents and scroll down. Now this is the one that was just open. All that you have to do is just double click on it to open it up again. So again, back to files. If you don't see it, click on recents if you had closed it, and then double click on it again. And there it is. Now what you're going to do in here on this file, now that it's yours and it's saved to your account, is just a couple basic things. Now this is an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. And it's actually in pixels because they just use pixels. So we can always do conversions if we need to, but right now it's letter size paper. And I'm going to zoom in a little bit. And you could use Control plus or Command plus to zoom in, depending if you're on Mac or Windows. I'm going to use Command plus because I'm on a Mac. Zoom in just a little bit. Scroll up so I see the edge of the paper here. And you could use the scroll bar over here, or I'm on my trackpad, so I'm just kind of going up and down. And we'll talk more about zooming in and out later because it does go in big increments and you can change it. But what you're going to do first is you're going to go to your text tool over here and you're going to click on it and then just click once on your page. Just click. You don't have to draw a box. Just click. And there'll be a cursor there and start typing the Quick Brown Fox. This is an old typing thing because it's supposed to use all the letters of the alphabet. The Quick Brown Fox, the lazy dog's back, and put a period at the end. And when you want to select this, you're still on this like move tool, they call it. Just click off of it. And then it's selected. And you'll see information about the text. You'll see information about the text box, that's the text box. I'll zoom in just a little bit more. There's the text box. And you can see even when it's selected, it says 304 by 15. That's the size of the box. And over here, you're seeing 304 and 15. Now it's grayed out because it's kind of in an auto mode right now, and I'll show you some things about that. Now what I'd like you to do, just real basic stuff after doing that. Now you don't have to highlight anything, it just has to be selected. So you can click off, click on again, and then down here where it says text, it says Enter. That's actually a font. You may not know that, but that's a font called Enter, and these are all Google fonts that we're going to use. And if you go down here, I'm going to choose Roboto. Now you could scroll down and look for Roboto, or you could start typing RO, and look for Roboto. Now there's a few Roboto ones. We're just going to use Roboto right now. That's the sans serif font. And what I'm also going to do is change its point size or pixel size over here. If you look over here, it's Roboto, it's regular, it's 12. I'm going to change it to 14, make it a little bit bigger. If you want to zoom out, you could do that. Now, they have these little handles on the edge of the box. What I'm going to do is change the size of this and just grab it on a corner and start moving it over and shortening it. You can see I'm moving it this way, and I'm going to take its width to about 200. You can see the width is changing. If you want me to zoom in, I'll zoom in. The width is changing as I move to my left, and I'm going to make it about 200. About there. It doesn't matter if it's exact. About there. And then I'm actually going to drag it down and take it to about 100. Now you might say, why are you doing that? Well, I just want to show you some options here. So about that. If you're off a couple pixels, it doesn't matter. So when I did that, that means I made it a fixed size. So down here, it's hard to see, but this is fixed size. So it's a fixed size. So the width is fixed at 202 right now, and the height is at 100. Now, if you change this, if you put auto width extended as wide as it needs for the text, it'll make it all on one line because I didn't put any returns or anything like that in it. So it would do that. So I'm just going to undo that. So don't do that right now. Don't use auto width right now. But what you can do is you could use auto height, and you could go down here and use auto height. So basically it's on auto height, which happens to be 32, and its fixed width is 202. So if you go up here, you should see its height is 32 because that's auto. That's why it's grayed out, because it's auto. You didn't put that number in. That's its auto height. Now its fixed width is 202. You put that in. If you were like, oh, I need it to be 200, you could double click in here and put 200 and make it exact and shorten it a little bit. Just wanted to point that out. As far as fixed height, you a lot of times want to use fixed height because you don't want extra space in there. And also, by the way, you can make it too short. You can make the box shorter than the text. It won't cover up the text, but you don't want it to look like that. It just looks odd. So you could go back and put on auto height, and that'll put it back to just enough to fit around the text. So I have fixed width and I have auto height, which again, 32 is the auto height, and around 200, now it's 198, is the fixed width. And that's all I want to do with that. And then I'm going to copy this. Now, how do you copy things? And on another video, I'll show you doing a drag copy. If you hold down Alt or Option, you could grab this with the Move tool and make a copy. And make sure you don't leave go of your Alt key until you're done moving it. Because then if you do, then you'll just move it. But I'll leave go. That's one way to make a copy. Another way to make a copy or duplicate this is to go up to here to your Figma icon and go Edit, Duplicate, and it's Command D, or if you're on Windows it should be Control D, and do that. And if you click on it, you might think, well, nothing happened, but it did, because over here you could see in this letter area, which is the page, it made a second copy, and it made it directly on top, and then you could just move it down. So that's all I'm going to do is just move it down. So you could drag copy or you could duplicate it. And I'm going to take away, I'm going to double click in here now and get my cursor in there and highlight all the other text except the quick brown fox and delete it. And now what I'll do is I'm going to make this a little bit bigger, but first what I'll do is I'll make it auto height and auto width. So I'll go down here, I'll make it auto width, and that brings in the box, and it's on auto height. And then if I want to make it bigger, I could change the point size here and do this, make it 36 or something like that. And I'll undo that. But another way I just want to point out to very quickly make this larger is if you go over to your Move tool and you go on the arrow and go below it, there's a scale tool. And if you just hover over the top, it's weird because you want to click on the edge, but if you hover over the top, you can just go like that and it'll scale up from the center. You don't have to hold shift or anything. It'll just make the text bigger. And I'm just going to make it bigger. And I think I'll make it somewhere around, maybe like I'm looking over here when I'm doing that, somewhere around 284, 290, something like that. 290, something about like that. If you're close, whatever, it doesn't matter. Now what I want to do is change the font to something heavier, like a headline font. Now if you go over here, you'll be like, well, where did Roboto go and all that? That's because you're on this scale tool. You have to go back and go on the Move tool, and now you'll see your fonts down here. And I'm going to go down to where it says Roboto on this box, and if you're not seeing that, click on the box and go down to Roboto, scroll down, And instead of regular, I'm going to make it black, which is a real heavy typeface. And then I'm going to make it red. Now, don't go on here thinking black is the color. Black is the thickness, the heaviness of it. You're going to go down to fill. There's a fill color, and you're going to click right on the little icon. It's hard to see because it's black on a black background. But if you click there, I'm just going to make it red because a fox is red. Actually, a fox is brown. I don't know why I'm making it red. All right, let's make it brown. It is a quick brown fox. Let's make that brown. How would I make this color brown? I don't see any brown down here. Well, just move this thing over into the hue. There's different hues down here. So I'm just going to move it over a little. And then I'll kind of make it a little darker. Make it a little dark brown so you can move it around. Now, even with red, if it was red, you could have gone down here and made it kind of dark red. But I'll move the hue over a little into the orange section kind of, and then make it a dark orange, which is brown basically. So I'll do that. And then when you're done, just hit this X. And there's the quick brown fox. And then we'll line these up. But what I also want you to do, I'll zoom out a little bit, Command minus. And I'm going to go find a quick brown fox. I'm going to go to Google and type in quick brown fox. And you'll probably see a lot of memes and little graphics of quick brown fox, because it's a common term. I'll go to images and I'll scroll down and I'll just look for something with a quick brown fox. There's a quick brown fox. There's one jumping over a lazy dog. That one's perfect. I don't care what you find. It may be gigantic, so you may have to scale it down. This one I think is fairly small. Let me click on it. It's showing me it's 400 by 300. That's not very big. So I'm going to copy it. How do I copy it? I'm going to right click on it and copy image. And then I'm going to go back to Figma and I'm just going to paste it. I'm going to do Command V. If you don't remember that, you could go Edit, Paste. Oh, one thing I just want to point out before I do that. Make sure nothing is selected. Click off of this because sometimes you can paste inside a box. If I paste, it just pasted it inside that box. So do not do that. Make sure nothing is selected here. Click off. Click off. Make sure nothing's selected. Then I'm going to do Command V and paste. And then I'm going to move this down and I'll put it below here. And then I'll scale it a little by just grabbing on the corner. I'll hold shift. This you do have to hold shift. I'll make it a little smaller. Now if it's really gigantic, you know, you're going to have to zoom out to grab the corner. Let's say it's like, 3,000 pixels or something, whatever you chose. You're going to have to zoom, Command minus and really zoom out. Maybe the edge of it's out here and you got to make it smaller. But hold shift, grab on the corner, I'll zoom back in. And just something like that is fine. And all I'm going to do is just kind of line this up here nicely. Maybe I'll even make this the same width as the headline. And I'll put that here. And then I'll grab this and I'll move this down here. And I'll align these all to the left of themselves. If you highlight multiple objects and you use this align left, they'll align to each other. They're not going to align on the page, they'll align to each other. So I'm just going to do that. And I'll move this down. Now I could use my arrow on my keyboard to just move that down a little bit. I'll make this a little bigger. And that's it. That's all I want you to do. Just a little quick practice just to get used to working with text boxes, knowing how they work, how they expand, how they get smaller, that you can use the move tool to scale them, that you change color. And we'll talk about all of these different settings here, line spacing and character spacing and all that kind of stuff we're going to do in here. There's lots of nice settings in here that we have available to us that we didn't have in Gravit. If you see any of the earlier videos that we used last time, we had typography and graphic design. We used Gravit, but it's no longer free. They only have a free trial. So there's lots of nice typographical settings in here that we can work with. It is a little more complex interface because it's meant for web design. It's not actually meant for print design, but we can do it for print design. And it's free and it's very easy to share things. So let's do that before we do anything else. Now that you're done, and you don't have to hit save because it auto saves. So no saving required. It's saved. Even if you went back to your files and you had to leave for some reason, you could open it up again and there it is. Now what you're going to do is share it with me or share it with MyWarren in the coursework. So you're going to go here to the share button and you're going to click on this and you're going to copy link. It should say anyone with the link here. If you don't have that, make sure you see anyone with link and you're just going to copy the link. You're not going to share with email or anything like that. You're going to copy link and You'll go back to coursework, the same place we just copied the link from initially, or we clicked on the link, and you're going to go down to add comment. And you'll do this whether you're in GRD 132 or 130, or for any assignment for that matter, that you're using something with Figma. You're going to add comment, and you're going to go to the link and insert link, and you're going to paste the link you just copied right there. And you could just click off, and then go to current window, change that to new window. So when I click on the link, it opens in a new window. And I always try to do that for you too. So you're pasting the link here. You don't have to change the text to display. Make sure this opens link in new window, or a new tab is what it'll do. And then you'll hit save, and there it is. And I'll hit save. Now, I just turned it in as a student. So when you turn it in, it'll look like that. So this was the link you originally went to, the shared one. And this is the link you're going to turn in. So you just turned in and you're sharing that with me. So I shared this with you. You opened it up, saved it to your account, and then you shared it when you did some of that work. And some of this work you did was just kind of this stuff here, real basic stuff. Now we have another exercise where we're going to do some things with type, and in history of graphic design we'll be doing something else, but I just wanted to have you go over and practice a little bit before we jump into anything, just so you know your way around a little bit with Figma after creating accounts. If you have any problems with Figma, I don't know if Chromebooks have any issues with Figma. Sometimes they could run a little slow. I'm using Chrome. If you're using Safari or something, or Opera, try a different browser. Try Firefox, try Chrome. That's what I usually use. If you're using Edge or something, or Internet Explorer, don't use Internet Explorer. Try Edge, I guess, but use something modern to work with this. And if you have any problems or anything that doesn't seem right or whatever, just let me know. Because we'll be using this throughout the semester to examine type and to do exercise with it, and also to do some designs in history of graphic design as well. So that's sharing a file in Figma. So any issues, let me know, but that's Figma practice. Quick Brown Fox.